When math can save you. All versus there exists. Hi, this is Bob, and welcome to Bob Computer Science is Fun. Today we'll be showing how math can save you from destruction. And don't worry if you're afraid of math, because the math in this video is mostly comprised of words. So let's get to it. So a few months ago I read this article about someone who allegedly purposely got exposure to people who probably had COVID-19. And that already sounds terrible, but then they said that they just wanted to prove that COVID-19 was fake, so they probably had read some of the misinformation that was spreading around during that time. And before we continue, we will continue to reference this person later, so let's just give this random a name, since I don't really know his name. Let's just go with Jack. And I apologize to any Jacks who are listening. He's not you. So, if I write out their thought process as a proof, it would look like this. Faulty proof. Claim COVID-19 is fake. Proof. We want to show that COVID-19 is fake. Notice that Jack was exposed to people who said they had COVID-19, but Jack was not infected. Thus, we see that COVID-19 is fake. QED. Do you see anything wrong with this proof? It might look like it is a valid proof at first glance, but you might feel like something is wrong, but you don't know exactly what that is. And to understand why our gut is telling us that something is wrong, we need the help of math, namely the difference between all and there exists. There are two types of statements we can prove. One type is called an all statement, and the other type is called a there exists statement. If you want to be fancy, you can call them universal, which just means all, and existential, which just means there exists. And so now, all and there exists have different requirements for us to prove them. All is very, very strict. For example, for the statements all cats say meow, we need to show that each and every cat in the world says meow. Even if one of them says woof, then our proof is busted. In summary, we need to prove for all cases. There exists is much nicer. If we had the statement, there exists a cat that says meow, we only need to show that one cat says meow to show the existence of a meow saying cat. And so we can just be like, here's a cat that says meow, and like bring our cat, meow, and that's the proof. Alright, and in summary, we only need to prove for one example, at least one example. And in more complicated situations, all and there exists statements can be nested, but then you can just basically pick them apart layer by layer and prove them layer by layer. The problem is that most real-world situations and real-world phrases do not start with all or there exists. And so fortunately, we are able to translate real-world phrases into all or there exists phrases. However, it's easy to do it wrong. So, to see why, let's go back to the claim from earlier. So, this claim says COVID-19 is fake. So here, Jack, who probably didn't know math, thought that the statement was a there exists statement, like there exists one person without COVID-19, which means that his logic reads, if there exists one person without COVID-19, then COVID-19 is fake. Read that statement again and think about why that sounds absurd. However, unfortunately for Jack, the statement was actually an all statement. It was not a there exists statement. So if Jack wanted to prove that COVID-19 is fake, he needed to prove that everyone didn't have it. So even if Jack didn't get infected when trying to prove his claim, his proof would not have worked anyways. And what's worse, he tried to prove something using a faulty proof, but that proof actually turned into a disproof because Jack was infected. So here's a claim, COVID-19 is fake, and here's the disproof. We want to prove that COVID-19 is real. To do this, we want to prove that there exists at least one person suffering from COVID-19. Notice that Jack was exposed to people who said they had COVID-19 and was infected. Therefore, there exists at least one person, namely Jack, with COVID-19, and thus, we see that COVID-19 is real. QED. This is why we need math. Math can make people happier. Math can save lives. And please, don't purposely expose yourself to COVID-19. Stay home, stay informed. If you have any questions, you can comment down below. And if you like this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you found that somewhat fun, I actually have some bonus content about this subject. Alright, so here I'll go into more detail about formal logic. It's a subject that we used to analyze Jack's faulty reasoning earlier. In formal logic, we use a bunch of symbols so that we don't have to write for all and there exists and whatnot every time, just because we're lazy. It's actually very useful, but you will need to get used to the crazy symbols. So the upside down A means for all, and the flipped E means there exists. And yeah, the symbols are flipped because we wouldn't want to mistake them for an ordinary A or an ordinary E. Actually, that's just my theory, but if it will help you remember, then great. So now the first step we need to take to prove stuff is to translate what we need to prove into logic. So we will be clear on what we actually need to prove. And so this is just to be ultra careful that we don't make Jack's fatal mistake. It can even happen to the pros, especially with more complicated nested logic. So let's try with this example first. We want to translate there exists a pencil to logic. How do we do so? First, how do we know if something is a pencil? If we say, there exists a pencil, and we hold up a massaging stick instead, then the proof's busted. We will rely on what's formally called predicates, but they're just devices that we can give stuff to. And this solves our problem because the device will tell us yes or no in response to the stuff that we give them. It's that simple. It cannot tell us anything else other than yes or no. So basically we can call this device isPencil and input X, and we will give it something denoted as X, and it will just tell us if that thing is a pencil or not. And so now we can translate. You can pause here just to work it out yourself if you would like. First, we will replace there exists with a flipped E symbol. The symbols always come with a variable that they describe. So in this case, the sentence becomes there exists an X where X is a pencil. And now we can replace X is a pencil with isPencil X. And then we're done. So now, get ready for a harder example. So we're given a sentence, all humans like to eat at least one type of instant ramen. And we're also given 3 yes-no devices. The first one is human, second one is type of instant ramen, and third one is likes to eat. Pause the video now if you would like to solve it by yourself first. Alright, so first we start with the original sentence, and then we can recognize all humans as a for all statement. And so we can replace that with the following sentence. Then we can replace where X is a human with its formal equivalent is human X. The next part is a bit tricky, because notice that we are dealing with a nested statement. And there are 2 agents that we're talking about here. There's the human, and there's also a type of instant ramen. We have already determined that the human is a for all statement, but now we need to determine if the instant ramen is for all or there exists. Fortunately, we see the keyword at least one in the sentence. So this clues us that this is a there exists statement. And after some rephrasing, we can get the following: there exists at least one type of instant ramen which X likes to eat. And then from here, we can replace there exists with the there exists symbol. And so now it reads there exists Y, where Y is a type of instant ramen and X likes to eat Y. And now we can finally use our devices, is type of instant ramen device and the likes to eat device, to get the final version. Awesome! So now we have finally translated a complicated statement with multiple objects to something that was just organized and easily usable in proofs. A few extra notes usually we'll just indent as follows, and for no particular reason other than it's just better on the eyes. And we also would like to replace and with this pointy symbol just to save the writing of 2 characters each time. And this concludes the bonus segment. Again, if you have any questions, please comment down below, and if you like this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Bob, and see you in the next video.